G'day guys, welcome back to Never Been Bogged. On today's episode we're going to continue on with the NP300 build series. So today's mission is to build a aluminium tub rack, bit of a slimline design, so we can put the old Darshi tent back on and be able to keep going camping and stuff. So I'll run you through how we do it, what I'm doing and why we're doing it, and yeah, so pretty much to start it off, 100 by 50 by 3 aluminium RHS. All of it's 3mm alley. These will be my tent mounts. These will be the clamp, and these will be the actual feet, I guess, for it. Bit of a different design to pretty much everything I've done previously and to everything I've seen. We're going to do a clamp-on design, so it'll clamp onto the tub rather than having to drill and nutsert or drill and bolt into the side. So hopefully that'll help reduce any cracking or stress on the tub, and it also means you're not drilling into your brand new ute when you get one. So that's pretty much the idea behind the clamp design, so we'll see how well that actually works. We're using a Unimig 200 Razor AC/DC TIG to do all of this. Haven't had it too long, but it's a bloody brilliant little unit, so not too expensive to get, and you can do all your aluminium and stainless with it being AC/DC, so recommend them as well. So alright, I'll start marking it out and we'll get into it. First things first, we're going to go along and clean up all the edges of our plates. They have been CNC plasma cut, so it's a lot easier to go along and clean up any edges before we fold them up. Just saves a bit of time. Another few things to remember is being aluminium, it will scratch fairly easily. So I've just got a sheet laid down on the bench. Another thing to remember is also when you're cleaning up with cutting discs or fibre discs, anything like that, to save your cross-contamination, always use a fresh or just aluminium disc. Don't use a second-hand disc that you've used on steel or stainless or anything, because it'll actually contaminate your welds and make it a lot harder further on. So, alright, we'll get into it. So next we're going to bend all the bits up and just have them out the way for now. So the feet and the clamps will be just 90-degree bends, and the wings here will be both 45s. So I'll probably bend them all at once, and hopefully I don't get them wrong because there's no going back. So we'll see how we go. Just like that, we have all of our mounts bent up. So it'd obviously be a lot easier with a CNC or a hydraulic press where you can set a stop, but you do get pretty used to how far to go to, and also a bevel box helps when you're doing not 90-degree bends. So handy bit of kit, and we'll jump back onto the main runners. Right, so now we've got all the feet and clamps done, we'll move on to the main beams or runners. Going to mark out from the end where we want our bend to be, and then notch out pretty much a triangle, and then use that to then fold around to get our shape. If you're using a steel RHS instead of the aluminium, check where the seam is inside your RHS. And if it's on one of your big sides, put it on the inside of your bend. It'll just help it look a bit nicer. So being alley, we don't have to worry about that. So yeah, we'll measure in from the end, mark it out, and then cut it out. Make sure we're using a fresh cutting disc. and we'll also mark in from the end and notch where our feet will go. So I'll get stuck into that now, and it'll start to take a bit of shape. Right, so now we've got them all marked out, we'll jump over and start cutting them out. Right, now to notch these out, once again just using a cordless grinder. I am going to run a AdFlow helmet while I cut this, because being aluminium it's not exactly great stuff for you. And the more accurate you can cut it, the easier all your welding is going to be, obviously, so that's why I used a scribe instead of a text or anything like that. So yeah. Cut it nice and neat, and it should go together pretty easy. I'll get stuck into it. So now this here should pretty much just fold straight into the shape we want. And there you go, that's the basic shape of our tub rack. So we have to clamp it together when we go to weld it up, but yeah, I'll get the other one done. Now they're all cut out, I'll clean up the ends of them a bit, put a clamp on them to get them to the right width, and fab them all together. So start fabbing some feet on. Right, so I've got these tacked up now. I'm going to weld the sides of them first to help with distortion, and then I'll weld across the middle of them afterwards. So I'll get stuck into it and see if we can get this TIG dialed. They come up quite nice. Just to stop it getting too hot while I'm welding it, I'll just now swap over and start doing the same on the other one. Also welding from the outside corner to the tack. If you start from your tack corner, what can happen is when it heats up, it'll pop and you have to refab it. So always try and weld into your tacks. It's also better for your penetration. Right, well that wasn't too bad. So they're all welded up now. Now it's time to fab on the end brackets and get some weld happening around there. Right, so it turns out if you get a phone call while you're recording, it stops recording. So missed out on recording all the fab work. I'm sure I can probably find a clip of doing one of my other ones, but pretty much fabbed on the end plates and started welding around the ends of that one. I'll weld just the sides first and then let it cool down a bit, and then I'll weld across the ends just to try and keep the heat down a bit. So I'll get stuck into it and I'll weld this one out now. Now we've got them all welded out, where all we've got left is to pretty much put our tent mounts on. So I have left the wrapper on this far just to try and keep it looking a bit nicer, but we'll have to peel that back a bit. Don't want it getting too hot and melting to it. Pretty much I've marked the centre line on these earlier, and now I'll just mark in centres for these. So pretty much I got 1200mm at the top there. The tent rails are 830 centre to centre on my Dashi tent. So 1200, take the 830 and then divide it by 2 gives us about 185 at each end. So I'll just measure in the 185, mark it, and then use a clamp to hold that flat across the top. Same again, we'll tackle the sides of them first before I weld around the top, just to try and stop it moving a bit. Yeah, we'll get into it. Right, so now these are all fully welded out. Just got to put the foam on the end. The foam just stops it from rubbing, scratching any of the paint on the tub, and just makes a nice tight fit as well. With the foam, I use a self-adhesive closed cell foam, so it's an EVA foam. It means that it won't absorb any water or dust and dirt, anything like that, which will in turn scratch the tub. So make sure it's a closed cell foam, so you don't get the water in there. So pretty much I'll cut out the right size, stick it on the ends, and then use a wad punch or a hollow punch to punch out the circles. So I've already got this one done, and it just comes up nice and neat like that. So yeah, I'll cut out this one, whack it on, and then all I got to do is take the sports bar off, get in. Pretty happy with how these have come up. Just got to put some nutserts into the clamps, and then we can start organising and getting it all ready to bolt on. Right, finally time to drop the tub racks on and see how it all looks. Just like that. So I'll chuck the clamps in now and we'll do it all up. Done, just like that. So that's pretty sturdy in there, and yeah, well, it's not going to be able to come out, so I like it. Also, being clamp on, it gives me the ability to now move it to suit anything. So you've also got the slots there, so pretty much any tent should be able to fit onto these now, which is good. So you can mix and match, move them around, anything. So might end up getting them powder coated, not sure yet. But the raw alley finish will be good when you go with the chrome rims too, so interesting to see how that goes. And yeah, we'll get the tent up on here soon. So pretty much all that's left is the sort of final touches on these now. I was going to get them powder coated, just for a bit of extra protection. Being aluminium, it is quite easy and prone to scratching. But I've decided I kind of want it to match all the chrome that's already on the ute, with like the door handles and the front grille and stuff. So I'm going to try and give it a bit of a polish and see how that turns out. I'll sand it first with some 600 grit sandpaper. I'll then move on to a felt flat disc with some auto sew, and then go onto the buffer wheel on the drill there just to smooth it out. So should come out not too bad, I don't think. Still probably scratched pretty easily and stuff like that, but I don't know, I think it'll match the ute, and it's only really a temporary thing until I get the train canopy on anyway, so we'll see how it turns out, eh? So that's come up pretty nice now, so it's almost, I wouldn't say a mirror finish, but hell of a lot shinier than what it was with the sort of matte raw aluminium finish before. We'll chuck it up on the nav and see what it looks like.